the things we want to talk about just a bit is, one of the reasons Jack's here with us today, Dr. Jack's here, is that he's going to be talking to us about the RESPECT framework, which is really 35 years worth of work of really understanding some foundational, and I'm not going to explain it to justice, some foundational elements to creating a good experience for the employees. And so, Jack will talk a little bit about it, but we'll just want to hear some of your thoughts about the things you do day to day to create such positive career and daily experiences for the people you work with and for the people who work for you. And so really some of the tricks of the trade, if you will, some of your tips about the ways you kind of bring the Rideau culture and create such good experiences for all that interact with you here. Hi, my name is Charles Scherbaum. I'm here today with my colleague Jack Wiley, and we have the opportunity to speak with some of the best here at Rideau and learn a little bit about how they create such positive experiences for those around them. And each one of them here has been acknowledged by their peers as really being people who make this a great place to be. So thank you for everyone for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And I'm going to hand this to Jack here in a moment, but we're really here to talk about some of his work and understanding what are the keys to success in creating good experience. And maybe I'll hand it over to you, Jack.
Okay, thanks, Charles. Well, I'm excited to be with such a talented group who's made so many important contributions to the success of the organization. What I wanted to talk about first as a framework for how we can discuss your ideas and thoughts about organizational effectiveness and improvement is the RESPECT model, the RESPECT framework that Dr. Charles referred to. But in my research over the last 35 years, I've asked employees, what is the most important thing you want from the company for which you work? To make a long story short, we've synthesized that down to 7 attributes of the organization that employees find most important to them. The first letter of the RESPECT model stands for recognition. They want to be obviously recognized for the contributions they make to the success of the organization. The first E of the RESPECT acronym stands for exciting work. They want to do work itself that is motivating, mentally challenging, interesting to them. The S of the RESPECT model stands for security. And what that really means is an employee wants to go to work for a company in whose future they can be confident because the organization itself has charted a course of action that is reasonable, logical, and is enjoying success in the marketplace. P stands for pay, but what employees have really told us is that they want to be paid fairly for the contributions they make to the organization, consistent with the knowledge, skills, and abilities, the competencies they bring into the organization. The second E is education and career growth. The idea is I want to have a career, but also I want to be educated and skilled, trained to do the kind of work that I'm asked to do so that I can be competent at that and be making a contribution to the organization. The C in the RESPECT acronym stands for conditions. It really is positive working conditions. Certainly there's a safety and a security element to that, but the much bigger element of that is working in a team atmosphere, if you will, where people are cooperating to get the job done. They feel part of a team. There's the absence of abusive supervision. There's no discrimination, that kind of thing. A real good team interpersonal chemistry, if you will. And then finally, the T in the RESPECT acronym stands for truth. I want to be told the truth about the direction the organization is headed, how it's performing, how my role fits into that, and I want to be told the truth about my own performance. Now, you've obviously been told the truth about your performance, which is that you're outstanding performers as recognized by your peers. But I think we're keenly interested in how you think about making contributions to the organization itself from the standpoint of the RESPECT framework. Maybe kick it back over to Charles for a question or two.
Yeah, so maybe we'll start at the beginning with, we are Rideau, we are a recognition company. Mm-hmm. So how are some of the ways on a day-to-day basis you recognize the people you work with and the people that work for you for their contributions to the success of Rideau?
Sure. So in terms of our team at the call center, every day is a grind. So it's important to assure that whatever you're doing is actually worth doing. You have to be patient and tough to work through it. So it's important every once in a while, maybe a couple of hours, I just walk around and either me or Karim, or usually the main people walking around, just keep it up, good job. Oh, you got a question? I'll help you, no problem. Just put yourself aside for a minute. We'll talk. That kind of thing, just to make them feel like they're actually, recognized. They're not just wherever in the corner, do your thing, and I won't see you. I think that's an important thing. And every morning, just sending an email. Keep up the good work. I believe in you. A little image, picture, fun thing for everyone. I think that helps the team.
That's great, thank you.
I also see it in like every interaction, and not necessarily as like always like an act that you can point to, this is a recognition act, but in every interaction, there's a positive vibe to it. If you're happy about the result, and if you show that you're pleased with the result, or if you stay calm when things are not going as well, or if there's challenges, if you keep a good attitude and a positive attitude, I feel that this goes a long way in making people feel good about what they're doing, making sure that their feelings are, that they are comfortable in the task that they have to do.
Yeah, in client services, like the call center, not all clients are necessarily created equal. Some are more demanding than others.
You've had that experience.
And it can cause a lot of stress. I try to go around and make sure that everybody is, feeling good about what they're doing. But the team also, over the years, we have some that are there for 18 years. They've been there for a very long time. They've gotten really good at helping each other out and making them feel good, amongst themselves. So they're great at recognizing each other.
Pros.
Yeah.
That's great. I think two things that I do quite consistently is one, seek out their opinions. My motto is, 2, 3 heads are better than one. And I like to involve them if we're having a project or there's a decision to be made or whatever. If it's going to impact them, I like to seek out their opinions so they feel like they're involved. And we celebrate our successes. We really do. And we deal with customers too, and sometimes it can be challenging. And I think if we've had a difficult experience, we learn from it. And if we've had a great experience, we celebrate it.
Excellent. So recognition, of course, is highly related to the overall concept of respect, which is treating people with dignity and respect. What are and involving people in decision-making would certainly show respect for their opinions, attitudes, and the contributions they can make. Are there other things that you do or that you've seen other high performers do that really communicate a sense of respect for your coworkers and for the people who work with you?
Well, I did, obviously, those 2 little words, thank you, go a very, very, very long way, so I think it's just paramount to say thank you to not only to the people that you work with, but someone helps out. We just had an audit, a very intense audit, and I'm in the finance department, and I could not have answered the gazillion questions without reaching out to so many different people in so many different departments and relying on their expertise. So, and I totally acknowledge their contribution to help having a successful audit. So just thank you. You can't do it enough, I don't think.
Right. And it doesn't cost anything.
It doesn't cost anything.
Right. Terrific.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about exciting work. That was the second element of the respect framework. And again, that's about work that we enjoy doing, that we're jazzed up about. What do you do to make the work exciting for you and for your coworkers, the people that you work with? Are there things that you do in particular that makes the work more interesting?
The way you celebrate the result, or just show appreciation for the result. If I ask someone to build a prototype for a website, and like I just acknowledge that thank you for finishing it, it's one thing, but if I say thank you, this is great, this will help for like, and I explain the impact of having completed the task, like if you put more meat around the celebration.
I was just gonna build on what Alex said. I know for me personally, what like totally floats my boat is if I can improve something and when you can and it works, that is contagious.
Mhm.
And it excites other people around you to see what you can do when you look at things differently. You know, and you can turn a process upside down or just strip it right down to its bare bones and revamp it, and then at the end of the day, you may have saved someone an hour, you may have saved someone a day, or you just may have made their task more enjoyable. And I find that is totally contagious. That mindset of that small, continuous improvement is very, very contagious. So I think that's exciting when you taste that small success and you just build upon it. I think it's exciting.
Right.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah. That and food works really well.
Yeah.
Food always works well.
We have a brunch every Thursday in our department that works really
Yes.
well.
Good.
Yes, we created a breakfast club,
Oh, yeah.
so once a month, every Wednesday, on the Wednesday,
Yeah.
we,
Yeah, food really works
Yeah.
well.
I think we've learned what days we should show up.
We picked clearly the wrong day. One thing was really interesting of what all of you said is that part of what's created interesting work is taking a risk and trying something a little bit new.
Mhm.
But to take a risk involves a chance of failure. It's
Right.
scary that you need to feel safe to do that. And a key element of the respect framework is that you psychologically feel safe at work to take those chances and try those new things.
Right.
So how do you create environments for yourselves and your teammates, or what have your managers done for you that allow you to feel you can take those risks and try new things?
I think for me personally, the foundation is trust. It's absolutely with a big capital T, because if you have that trusting relationship, I know that my manager gives me free rein. If I wanna do a project and he goes, go for it, and if I crash and burn, I know I'm still coming in the next day, and I know that I'm gonna say, okay, that didn't work, I'm gonna try it this way, and I'm gonna learn from that failure, and I'm gonna keep trying until I get it right, but I know it's okay. And I try and spread that philosophy with my own team. And that's why I involve them in a lot of things too, because I want them to be part of it, and if it doesn't work, I say, okay, we wanted to try it this way, it didn't work, let's try it that way. So I think if you have a foundation of trust, they know that they can fail, and failure is not a bad word, it's a learning word, that we can all learn from that and keep moving on, then that's
and I think
That's
that's
how we
been
work.
one of the
That's how we roll.
foundations of Rito is people who have been here a long time have known that, the company trusts you, we trust our employees, and I don't think anybody has not crashed and burned at
Of
some
course.
point.
And I think
And nobody's ever died over it,
Right.
we fix it, we move on, and we,
Right.
change the process and make it work the next time.
So that gives people a great deal of confidence and security in that sense, that this is the kind of work environment where there is an emphasis on getting better, but as we try to get better, we may not always succeed in that particular pathway.
But it's not even like a failure if you attempt something and it
No.
doesn't work.
Of course
It's
not.
like you tried it and then you modify your approach, and like it's not even labeled as a failure.
Exactly.
It's just like part of the.
No, and sometimes it also gives you that opportunity to ask somebody for help for something.
That's
Like,
right.
you've tried it, it didn't work,
That's
maybe
right.
somebody has a suggestion in the team
That's
to
right.
help you fix it. It builds on the teamwork as well.
If you don't use the word failure and you just like it's just part of the path that you take to like
That's right.
have a few moments where things don't work in an expected way, you change them. They're not even labeled failures, and like,
It's great. Thinking about, learning is something that obviously is a key part of what you just said. It's not failure, this is part of your progression, figuring things out. How are you creating opportunities for your employees outside of, taking chances and failing to learn and to grow?
Well, for us, it's maybe simpler than other departments because in client services, we have new clients coming in all the time. So everybody has the opportunity to do an implementation, to start them from scratch, so you learn, the client from the get-go. And then we try not to move clients around, but sometimes it's inevitable. So you have that opportunity to take on a new, sometimes bigger clients that are international, that, you'll do something, you'll work on a program that you didn't have the opportunity to do before. So there's always something to learn, there's always.
Some little bit of variety, right?
Yes.
How about in like the call center where oftentimes you do have some things that are a little bit more scripted in some ways than other areas? How are you finding those opportunities for people to try new things and to grow?
Well, in terms of, as you said, new clients, but also new people who come in, we learn to make friends, first of all. And when it comes time to teach what we know, everybody gets a chance to find something that we didn't realize before. Either it's a particularity about the program, or it's something, could be just a new way to solve a problem. It could be all that kind of stuff. So I think pretty much every day, someone finds something and then shares it with the team, and so we all learn from that. It's those FYI emails that we get every day. FYI, I found this. And every day we have one of those. That's a part of our learning experience.
So it sounds like a really good team atmosphere, and sharing is critical to everyone's ongoing education and development. It seems like that's foundational in terms of how it happens here.
Yeah, absolutely.
In IT, it goes in two different approach. For you can learn the tools that you need to do the work here, but you also, within the work here, there's a lot to learn because we have to learn about the business, plus you have to learn about the technology. So we use the technology to set the rules for the business. So you do your effort that is really based on the technology. So for that, we have learning tools, that online classes, stuff like that. It can have very specific, and then when you start to use it, then it's very specific to the business. From the back-end tools that we use to ship product and take orders, to the client-facing website, to the database and all the integration. So there's a lot of very specific. So you can learn about the technology, but you also have to learn a lot about how we do things here. What's our process? So there's two fronts to that. So, and we have the technology, we have the classes, as I said, and this one is really when you start working hands-on, then it's the sharing of information. As you work, you have to ask a question. So the more, like within a few months, when we have new hires, they have to know, like, and the more they work, the difference between 3 months and a year is phenomenal because it's like a circle that goes. So the more you work, the more you are involved in different projects.
And we have several new employees in client services at the moment, and there's a great mentoring program for when they come in following. And in the past, we've been offered some great classes like dealing with difficult clients and stuff. And now, since we've had the LinkedIn Learning, it gives us even more opportunity to, take those classes without having to wait for somebody to come in.
Perfect.
One second, I just want to change my angle. I'm here, I'm okay right here?
Yep.
Okay.
Again, so much of what you say are the contributors to feeling like this is a very respectful work environment, and the things that you do to contribute to that go back to the quality of the team atmosphere. Sounds like you have good relationships with coworkers, and coworkers feel good about being part of a team. There's a great deal of cooperation and so forth. What are the things that you do to help create such a positive team atmosphere?
that's how can I help?
Okay.
It's all the time, can I help? How can I help? Right? I found, I'm gonna celebrate my 1 year anniversary next week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, and so this was my first year end, but I had heard horror stories of previous year ends that we were like chickens with our head cut off. We were bringing in people's husbands and wives to help us and whatnot. So I manage the accounts receivable department and the accounts payable department. So I reached out to some people in the accounts payable department and said, do you want to learn receivables? And so we cross-trained them, and they really liked it. They really liked learning that new skill set, and we did not have one issue at year end because they knew what they had to do. We kept everything in-house in the finance department. And so, and the accounts receivable team totally appreciated the help from the AP team. And I think it just created a really strong cohesive environment. And they appreciated the new skills they learned, so.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't necessarily take very much. At year end,
Yeah.
they asked people to volunteer to do the inventory.
Right.
Mm.
And everybody that joined in on the inventory had such a blast. I mean, normally it's something that you wouldn't think is a fun task to do, but people really enjoyed it. And we walked out of there, and it was almost like pulling teeth to get them to volunteer to begin with. But now everybody's like, when are we doing the next one?
Yeah.
So we just little things sometimes brings them together.
Well, there's value in having a clear goal, and if you have a good spirit about how you
Yeah.
complete that, then you're done and people walk out feeling good about it. Special effort. Other thoughts or ideas about how you create a really positive team atmosphere?
I like the idea of no walls, basically. So everyone can see what everyone's doing, and well, not in the sense that literally everything. Of course, we have screens blocking each other, but there's nothing stopping us from talking to the other person, or interacting with them, asking them questions. We have something difficulty with a special case or something. Bring up a couple people and we both focus on it. That kind of thing, where it's not I'm at my desk and leave me alone. So I think that's really important to build a good team. Whenever someone new comes in, let them know, don't hesitate. And it's very, when I was new, it was tough to go to someone, so we go to them. So that's the approach, and then they get used to us, they get used to our attitude, they get used to our, I'm sometimes sarcastic, so they get used to that. We make jokes between each others, and then it opens up. They open up and they start actually going to others. And then we end up, everyone talks to each other. So, of course not during client calls, but obviously. But yeah, that helps lighten up the mood and tighten up relationships, I think.
In IT, we every morning, first thing we meet the whole team for a 15-minute stand-up meeting, and we just say what we did the day before and what we're going to do on this day. And so that's like regular part of the process, and if there's any impediment, if someone is waiting for someone else, then that will be addressed, and who do you need help from today? So those type of thing. But this is also like an opportunity to set the mood. So even if there's requests that could seem like not the best approach, or like it's not what the people want to do, or it's the result of other people's mistake. If you set the mood that we're gonna do this today, it's gonna be great, it's gonna be fun, then people leave that meeting and start their day like on a more positive approach. If there's a sad atmosphere during those meetings, it ruins the day because it's really set the tones for the day. So that's really the opportunity to come first thing in the morning, be to have a high spirit and set the tone for the team.
Right, so Fred, what you're talking about, I think obviously has a lot to do with communication. So positive communication right up front, getting the team aligned, understand what the goals and objectives are for a particular day, gets things off on the right start, especially when it's introduced in a positive way, what we're going to accomplish. That actually relates to another attribute of respect, which is truth, telling the truth. Truth about the direction the organization is headed, and how we're performing against our goals, and how I'm doing as a team member. Many of the things that you've talked about are obviously positively, they're representations of positive communication. What do you do to really reinforce that sense of truth, trust, confidence people have in one another and their communications?
Well, and we are going through like a phase where we are merging a lot of system. So there are some people who are like specialized in a system that will no longer be in use. So they will need to get new skills and learn new ways of doing them. So they like it's a stressful time for them. But if like during those daily meeting and in the bi-weekly meeting that we have, this is like really the time to show them the opportunity and like put some excitement and not treat this as something sad that's happening to them, but something exciting that's happening to them. So that's so when it comes to the truth, there's the truth. There's always like good things happening and bad things happening.